Honorable Mr. Justice Swami, Honorable Chief Justice of Madras High Court, Mr. Justice Swami, Honorable Mr. Krishna Swami, Honorable Mr. Justice Srinivasan, Honorable Mr. Justice Natarajan, Honorable Judges of the Madras High Court, Honorable former Judges of the Supreme Court and Madras High Court, Mr. Thomas D. Grattington, Director of USIS, learned Advocate General, learned Senior Advocates, learned members of the Madras Bar Association. Distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen, I have great pleasure in welcoming Mr. Justice Harmony, Honorable Chief Justice of India. Mr. Justice Harmony became a lawyer. Mr. Justice Harmony became a lawyer by choice and not by chance. Many became lawyers because they were denied admission elsewhere. It is not the case with the Chief Justice of India. His father, Mr. M.A. Harmony, was a judicial officer in the Bombay Judiciary. Probably our Chief Justice of India wanted to follow the footsteps of his father and became an advocate in the year 1954. Within 10 years, he was appointed as City Civil and Session Judge Ahmedabad. In the year 1976, he was elevated as Judge of the Gujarat High Court. As Judge of the Gujarat High Court, he was appointed as a member of the Ravi and Beach Water Disputes Tribunal, constituted to resolve the dispute of sharing water on 4 states. Therefore, there is nothing surprising in his giving directions in the Kaveri water dispute, as he was very much aware of the hardship experienced by our poor farmers. Sincere and hard work brought him rewards. He was elevated as Judge of the Supreme Court in the year 1988. In October 1994, he became the Chief Justice of India, the highest office in our country that a member of the bar could aspire for. I became an admirer of our Chief Justice of India since he became the President of the Supreme Court Legal Aid Committee. I am one of those who believe in rendering legal aid to the poor and the debtors in our society. He has been the champion of legal aid for several years. For some, legal aid is only lip service. For him, it is a crusade. He strongly believes that in a country like ours, where the majority lives under the poverty line, legal aid is the only means to render justice, social, economic, and political. I decided a year ago to invite him as chief guest for our 130th anniversary. I called on him in January 95 with our invitation and followed it up in August and October through letters. He finally agreed in November and suggested this date for our function. Here's the golden touch. We were able to establish a telecom center and a full-fledged library with books not only relating to Indian law but relating to US law aspects. His letter of acceptance of our invitation is responsible for these achievements. I express my gratitude to Honorable Chief Justice of India. I express my warm greeting and welcome the Honorable Chief Justice of India. My Lord Mr. Justice Verma, in January 1995 when I was in Delhi, I came to know about the case which is appearing every day in the paper, which was being heard by you with the camera. Even then, news was trickling and several names were mentioned. I became alarmed and was shocked, and at the same time, I had my misgivings about the results. I wondered whether the names would ever become public, as it would be a real atom bomb shattering public confidence in our body politic. But you have proved to be a crusader for clean public life. You have seen to it that the CBI investigation ends with the filing of charge sheet against persons, however high and mighty they could be. Rule of law has been re-established. Corruption has eroded the fabric of clean administration in our country. During freedom struggle, our country produced leaders par excellence. Those leaders put service before self. The people are looking for a messiah now. People pray that Mahatma Gandhi would make a rebirth. Mahatma Gandhi said, the holding of any office in government must be in the spirit of service without the slightest expectation of personal gain. How many follow the teachings of Mahatma? The quest for the truth was the summum bonum of Mahatma's life. Truth was God to him. That is why he selected the picture of our High Court building with Mahatma as logo for the celebration, as the members of the bench and the bar are pursuing the never-ending journey towards truth. It may sound as a paradox to many, when I say that it is the Supreme Court and the High Courts in our country that prevent our people rising in revolt. Because our people are able to get their grievances addressed through courts to some measure, they lie low. When the time comes that all their grievances cannot be addressed through legal means, they will resort to other means. Our people are not fools. They have changed the government hoping that the alternative political party elected to power would bring succor to their suffering. Once they come to the conclusion that politicians of different shades are made of one single mold, they will not keep quiet. They cannot be fooled forever. My Lord Mr. Justice Verma, to a great extent, you are responsible for restoring the confidence of our people in our democracy. I have great trust and recognition. My Lord Dr. Justice Anand, you are true embodiment of national integration. You have spent a good part of your life in various states in our country. You were born in Jammu and graduated from the Jammu and Kashmir University. You took your law degree from the Lucknow University in Uttar Pradesh. After returning from the UK with doctorate in law, you started your practice at Chandigarh. You were elevated as judge of Jammu and Kashmir High Court and became Chief Justice of that court. On transfer, you became Chief Justice of our High Court. Thus, you have imbibed the rich culture and heritage of several states in our country when you came here in 1989. 91, you added the Tamil Nadu culture and tradition in your list. You endeared yourself to all of us by your highly cultured and gentlemanly behavior and manner. You were there for 2 years only, but when you left Madras, we felt as if a close friend or relative was leaving us. Though we were happy about your elevation to the Supreme Court, yet we felt sad when we bid farewell to you. In the last 4 years since you left Madras, several times we have invited you for our functions, as we could not think of organizing important functions without your presence. In our 125th anniversary, which was celebrated in the year 1990, you participated as Chief Justice of our High Court. You have that you found time to participate in our 130th anniversary also. I have great pleasure in welcoming you. My Lord Mr. Justice Venkateswamy, before your elevation as judge of our High Court, you practiced in our High Court and were a member of our association. Every time great honors such as elevation to the bench, elevation as Chief Justice of Patna High Court, elevation as Judge of the Supreme Court were conferred upon you. Our members felt as if each one of them was honored. During your tenure of office as Judge for 11 long years in our High Court, you conducted the proceedings in court with dignity and decorum of the highest order. You never lost your temper, even under grave provocation. You were courteous to elders and kind to younger members of the bar. The members of the Madras bar not only showered their love and affection on you, but also showed great respect as your integrity, honesty and uprightness were too well known to them. We are extremely happy that a member of our association is participating in this function as Judge of the Supreme Court of India. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you. My Lord the Chief Justice of Madras High Court, this is the 30th month since you assumed office as Chief Justice in our High Court. There is a long catalogue of your achievements, and if I start narrating all the achievements, there cannot be time left for any other speech. You were always kind and considerate to members of the bar. Any member could meet you and ventilate his grievances. We had bitter experiences with 1 or 2 Chief Justices who were in the days members of Madras bar. After assuming office as Chief Justice, they started behaving like superior beings and showed disrespect and discourtesy to us. But Chief Justices who had come on transfer to our court, such as Mr. Justice K.B.N. Singh, Dr. Justice Anand and others, have shown great courtesy to the bar. By your courteous behavior and soft-spoken manners, you have won our cause. We feel that we have a Chief Justice to whom we can look up to at times of need. Right from the day you assumed this office, you have never failed to attend any of our functions. I extend my warm welcome to you. Through K.A. Krishnasamy, you were one of us for some time, but you chose politics as you felt that you could serve the people better that way. The one politician in our state about whom nobody can make any allegation is you. When we were thinking of inviting someone to open all Krishnamurti sections in our library, all the members unanimously suggested your name. I have great pleasure in welcoming you. My Lord Mr. Justice Srinivasan, you are a stickler for rules. You cannot tolerate anyone deviating from the rule of law, may it be people holding high public offices or members of the subordinate judiciary or members of the bar. You have repeatedly held that nobody is above law and nobody can be above law. At the time of delivery of judgment, persons concerned may feel hurt or sometimes may feel the same to be harsh, but later they understand and bow to the truth revealed to your judgments. I have great pleasure in welcoming you. Honorable Mr. Justice Narayan, who is here to speak about Mr. Justice Mr. Paraswaran, because I invited him for this function. When I approached you, sir, to participate in this function and inaugurate the telecom center, Mr. Paraswaran informed me just 2 days ago that he would not participate in the preoccupation. You did not stand on formality and came forward to give a helping hand to me. I express my gratitude for your kind gesture. I have great pleasure in welcoming you. The presence of our honorable judges, past and present, adds more dignity to this function. All the honored guests on the dais and all honorable judges are attending this function without taking any rest after the morning function at Talaiwana Arangam. I express my gratitude to all of them. I extend my warm welcome to the learned Advocate General, law officers, senior advocates and members of the bar. Though we could not personally invite them for lack of time, they did not stand on formality but have chosen to respond to our invitation. I have great pleasure in welcoming Mr. Thomas D. Gradisha, who is responsible for contributing books to US law section in our library. I greet the members of our association and welcome them. Their support has been a tower of strength to me. I express my gratitude and happiness for their presence in large numbers. I welcome the registrars, additional registrars and staff of the High Court. They have extended their helping hands always. I welcome the members of the press, Doordarshan and all the members of the media. It is the judiciary, especially the Supreme Court, which is leading the country towards the goal for which our national leaders sacrificed their lives. As a large number of honorable judges of the Supreme Court and High Courts are participating in this function, the Madras Bar Association dedicates today's proceedings to the memory of the great soul, Mahatma Gandhi. Thank you.
The living legend of law. Present the fellow member to our chief guest, the Honorable Chief Justice of India. Thank you, sir. Yeah, by presenting your shop. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Justice Bob. Thank you, sir. Justice Dr. Anand. Thank you, sir. Of politeness and courtesy to want the Honorable Dr. Justice A. Anand by presenting him short. Thank you, sir. To Honorable Justice A. Thank you, sir. May to honor the Honorable Mr. Justice Vengatami by presenting your shop. I request him by presenting your shop. Narasimhalu, our librarian, to honor. May I request Thomas Lavisa to kindly come towards the dais. Yes, sir. May I request Ramesh Babu, our executive committee member, to present the shop to the Honorable Justice. May I now request Ajay Chandra, he will be by traveling in our heart. Our additional accommodation is a standing testimony to his understanding of our genuine difficulties and request his greatness. May I now request our Honorable Chief Justice of India, Mr. Justice A.M. Amali, to declare open the library hall and give us back on.
Honorable Chief Justice of the High Court of Madras, my esteemed colleagues, Mr. Justice Verma, Mr. Justice Anand, Mr. Justice Venkateswamy, Mr. Justice Natarajan, Honorable Law Minister, Director of United States Information Service, the Advocate General, Mr. Parasavan, and friends at the bar, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by extending to all the members of the bar, members of the legal fraternity, and members of the judicial fraternity as well, my warm felicitations on the 130th anniversary of the Madras Bar Association, which I think any bar association must very proudly observe. Madras High Court has been one of the premier high courts of this country, constituted under the Charter of 1861, came into existence in 1862, and I think it has completed 100 years of its being in this building, more than 100 years if my memory serves me right. And any bar association which has such a long standing is entitled and fully justified to feel proud to celebrate its 130th anniversary. I consider myself, and I speak on behalf of my brethren judges and myself, we all consider ourselves fortunate in having had this opportunity of associating ourselves with the celebration and in participating in your joy on an occasion like this. This occasion is marked by two very significant statements made by your President
in his opening speech this afternoon. He said that he dedicated today's function, today's gathering to Mahatma Gandhi. A person who would be said to be one of the very few humanists, lean in his structure, but a person with indomitable courage of conviction, a barrister by profession who turned into a reformer, a social reformer, and a crusader for human rights. Perhaps very few persons in this century, we could count them on the tips of our fingers, who really believed and practiced in what today we call human rights or preservation of human rights. The courage that he showed in not trying to get provoked even when worse atrocities were heaped on him. When he was beaten red and blue, where do you find a person who believes so strongly in human rights to see that while the other man was violating his human rights, his right to expression, he did not in any manner as would be construed to be violating the other man's human rights. And I think it's very thoughtful of your President to say that we dedicate today's function to this gospel of non-violence. Our Constitution came into existence, or its drafting began at a point of time which one can say is a turning point so far as this century is concerned. Today we are at the twilight area or period of the present century. A century which is significant in more ways than one. A century, half of which was unfortunately taken away by 2 world wars, heaping on humanity the worst possible tortures and inhumanities and indignities. It was a period which saw humanity shrieking and bleeding, a period we saw human beings buried under the debris of rubble. A century we saw the worst possible bombardment at the culmination of the war. The effects thereof are felt even today by the people living in Japan. I had an occasion to be there some time back and to have learned about the sufferings of the people who lived in that area at that point of time. Having heaped on the human race these sufferings, miseries, it was much natural for humans to think in terms of how best you could avoid such a situation in future. After the devastating wars, a time for reconstruction arrived, and human beings, the international community, began to seriously consider how best it could undo what it had done to itself and to ensure that it does not do that in future which it had done in the past. It was in this turning point that India attained its independence. And the task of drawing up a constitution for free India was entrusted to our leaders, some of them constitutional experts, to determine what should be the provisions in the Constitution. And at that very point of time, soon after the culmination of war, as I said in the morning, the declaration, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was signed in 1946. And the exercise of preparing our Constitution had just begun, and therefore it's not surprising, because having regard to the historical background through which India had passed and the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi, it was just not surprising that the majority of human rights enshrined in the Declaration became a part and parcel of our rights and under our Constitution, some of them to be implemented forthwith, some at a point of time which was considered to be most suitable and commensurate with the changes that were taking place in this country. It's at this point of time that the Constitution came to be made, that fundamental rights were enshrined in the Constitution, and as was mentioned in the morning, of the 30 rights declared under the UN Charter. 28 are to be found in our Constitution, and therefore we can very proudly say that here is a nation which is, so to say, committed to the preservation of human rights. And it is that function which the court played over a period of time when it was time and again upholding the fundamental rights of the citizens of this country. It is therefore essential to bear in mind the fact that India is one country which is concerned about human rights and the preservation of human rights, albeit keeping in view the cultural relativities and universal human rights which can be universally applied have been incorporated in Part 3 of our Constitution. And because of certain constraints of finance and cultural and social imbalances, certain rights which otherwise may have found place in the fundamental rights were incorporated in the Directive Principles chapter. We belong to that country, we belong to that segment of humanity which is very strongly wedded to the rule of law. And that is the reason why in the preamble of the Constitution of India, justice finds a place of pride. It is the first of the four pillars on which the constitutional edifice came to be rested. In any democratic setup, where functions are loosely in our Constitution, I won't say it is as compartmentalized as it is in the United States, but by and large, functions are placed in three compartments: those belonging to the legislature, those belonging to the executive, and those belonging to the judiciary. Justice, social, economic, and political is our creed. Rule of law is the culture of this country, and that is why often I say that the preamble is the soul of our Suprema Lex. The members of the bar and the members of the judiciary have been entrusted this task of upholding the majesty of law, and we have, as I would proudly say, a fiercely independent judiciary, and it is this judiciary and the complementary agency which is the bar, which together in partnership has to play the role of upholding the rule of law and the majesty of justice. It is for this reason essential that both the members of the bar and the members of the judiciary should realize that they have an onerous task to perform, an onerous obligation under the Constitution, and any effort exerting or trying to in any manner diminishing or withdrawing from this obligation is as good as saying that you do not desire to be privy to the culture and creed of our Constitution. Everyone must therefore work and dedicate himself or herself to work for upholding the Constitution and the law. And not a single moment of our working time should be lost for any reason whatsoever, however pressing that reason is, from performing the task entrusted to us by the people who give unto themselves and we give to unto ourselves the Constitution of this great country. Therefore, whenever it becomes necessary, whenever the call of duty comes, I should think that one must respond to that call of duty. The call of duty comes in various ways. A call of duty for the advocate is to assist at all times, assist in the administration of justice. Call of duty comes to the judges to ensure that justice is delivered within a reasonable time. Unless we all join in this common effort, because that is the common effort to uphold the Constitution of the country, uphold the creed and culture of the Constitution, which I would think we all owe a duty to the Constitution to ensure that every moment of ours is spent for upholding the rule of law and the Constitution. Any time that is lost in any other activity, during the time you are charged with the duty to assist in the cause of justice, is a time lost, is virtually denial of the obligation under the Constitution. Our culture is therefore absolutely essential, both on the part of the bar and the bench, because unless we devote and dedicate ourselves to the cause for which we exist, for which the institution exists, the institution, I do not think for redressal of their grievances and disputes. They are by necessary implication told that they should not resort to any other mechanism. By that I mean any other uncivilized mechanism. And whenever they have a difference of opinion which they cannot resolve by themselves or through the good offices of a third party, there exists a forum for them to which they should go. And when they are asked to shun uncivilized methods of dispute resolution and the law, there is an implied promise to the litigant that his dispute will be resolved within a reasonable time. It is for this reason essential that the pace of disposal of cases must increase, and it can increase if the members of the bar as well as the judges participate in the exercise of deciding cases without undue loss of time. I said in the morning about court management. We have seen that it gives us handsome dividends. Court management has to be undertaken at all levels. We are now thinking in terms of developing the management technique for high courts as well as subordinate courts, so that the sophistication of a extant situation. It is not difficult. It is in fact easy. Have an optimistic approach and not a pain but improve the system to a large extent. I must request all of you to join in this endeavor of ours, to extend your helping hand so that we may be able to revamp our system and ensure that justice is delivered within a reasonable time to our masses, particularly those who are poor and cannot afford to tolerate the delay in the dispensation of justice. And we must all realize that delay breeds litigation. And therefore, if you eliminate delay, you eliminate the litigation is breed as well as the litigation which has come in. The result is fight over because it prevents litigation on one side and it disposes of litigation on the other. That's the reason why you would be able to get rich dividends once you are able to perfect the management system and introduce a culture, a work culture, so that the environmental degradation which has somehow seeped into our system is eradicated, because it's like a cancer of growth which we must eradicate. And we cannot eradicate it by merely providing somewhere, like in the Civil Procedure Code, that time will not be granted, and justice will not be granted on this count or that count. law cannot, by itself cannot, unless we do it. And therefore, it's our duty, it's our obligation, it's our responsibility to do it. And I do hope that once we bring in this kind of a culture, the image of this misinformation also sticks in. But by and large, I think the time has come to tighten our belts and look for a brighter future. I am very deeply grateful to the Bar Association for inviting me, for inviting my brethren, and for the honor you did to us by presenting us this beautiful plate with Mahatma Gandhi inscribed therein. It will be a very memorable plate. We will all cherish the memory of being here in your midst this afternoon. And I am very happy that the Bar Association has secured, if I may say so, a hall for itself. I am very happy that one of the members of the Bar has donated the electronic gadgetry, which will be very useful to the Bar. I am very happy that the Bar Association is celebrating its 130th anniversary, and we are participants in that celebration. I do wish this Bar every success, and I am sure that this Bar will join in our efforts to change, or rather revamp and change the entire culture in relation to the administration of justice. It is very important that we do so. It is for our survival that we will be doing so. And if we fail now, it may be too late. The entire culture for legal education is undergoing a change. Slowly and gradually, we have been able to bring about that awakening among everybody. But as I once said, in that revolution, if I may say so, that has to begin, it has to begin sometime. It has to revamp the entire system, and you will be proud to be a part of that revamped system. Thank you very much. All the best to you.
Timely, significant, memorable, inspiring, and majestic speech. We will cherish this speech for years to come. May I now request the release of the sovereign, the Honorable Justice, A.S. Verma, and request Mr. Gopal, Chairman of the Editorial Committee, to hand over the sovereign to Gopal. Honorable Justice Verma to hand over the sovereign to Justice Arunachal and also give us the
Thank you. Thank you. I feel very honor. This is my greatest honor. Director of the USIS, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I only propose to add a postscript of myself to what my Lord has already told you to share. I am indeed very grateful to Elder State Madras Bar, this is occasion as a particular feature of my part, and I believe also the part of everyone else. This is an occasion where one gets to develop this occasion to ensure its continuity with a view to ensure that the future is honest. In fact, I am one of those who think that in a progressive society, every generation has to be better than the previous one. The reason is obvious. Every generation gets better than what the previous generation had to begin with. And if that is so, even with equal ability, you should be able to perform better. There is all the more reason why, particularly for the junior or younger members of the bar, it is imperative to look back to what they have got. That would inspire them to do their best and keep them on the right path. The Madras Bar Association has such a distinguished bar that I was just now thinking whether there was any high office which members of this bar, which some members of this bar had not occupied. You think of the office, highest office, the President of India. You have had President of India from your bar. You think of the office of the Chief Justice of India. You have had Chief Justice of India. You think of the office of the Attorney General. You had that. To say nothing of many other different walks of life. Now, if this bar could produce men who have occupied the highest offices, there is no reason why every member of this bar should not think that he is also capable of reaching the top in whatever he chooses to do. That, I believe, is a great source of inspiration. At the same time, one is also to remember the humility with which the greatest coming from this bar have acquitted themselves. Well, these are things which we have only read or heard from people, but I recall having heard more than once that great Indian judge, the first Indian judge, Sir Muthuswami Iyer, also from here, had the humility to travel all the way to Allahabad to meet Justice Mahmood, another great judge, another great Indian judge. Now, the meeting between Sir Muthuswami Iyer and Justice Mahmood, I think must have been something which any one of us would be prepared to give anything to know what transpired between them. Such humility among a person who is himself so great is very necessary to recall at a time when humility is one of the first casualties when you achieve success at the bar. One has to remember that law is one profession where one never ceases to be a student, whatever position he attains. And the moment you think that you cease to be a law student, I am sure that's the end of your learning. So these are the rich traditions of the Madras Bar. May I refer to something which is a personal note to tell you how the traditions of the Madras Bar have influenced people, even those members of the bar or lawyers who did belong to this bar. I am one of them myself. I'll tell you how. When I joined the bar, my senior, Justice G.P. Singh, all of you must have heard of him, a very great judge, an eminent judge, and a great academician. I spent a few months in his chambers when I joined the bar. And the first thing he told me was this. One day when he took note of me, I've been sitting for a month, he didn't even look at me because that was probably his way of cutting me to size and making me realize what I was in for in this profession. He took out a book from his library, the book on professional conduct and advocacy by a member of the Madras Bar, Krishna Swami Iyer. He said, in due course of time, you will read law by yourself, everyone else will tell you what to read, and well, you will have in due course of time to know what you should read. But this is one thing which probably no one will tell you should read. But according to me, this is the first thing you must read. I read that book. That was the first book which I read from cover to cover when he told me that. And I can say without any hesitation, that was the best piece of advice I ever got when I joined the bar. And it is something which I always, that advice I cherish. Now, if a book of that kind, of a member of the Madras Bar, would inspire people in the legal profession elsewhere, there is no reason why the inspiration which the junior members of the bar draw from that book or from those traditions should be any less. Another incident which I remember, which left a great impact on me, was I began my career as a lawyer in the district court at Satna. And it was sometime, I believe, in 1966, just before I shifted to Double Court Center. And all of us know what we did. Now, if that is so, if each one of us puts our heart and soul into this task, there is no reason why, when earlier members of the legal profession were able to lead the country and lead it in the right direction, why can't members of the bar do that now? Now, my earnest appeal to all of you, particularly the junior members of the bar, I beseech each one of you to recall the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi, since you have chosen to dedicate this function and these entire celebrations to his memory, the most befitting tribute which can be given to ensure that we try to live up to his expectation and his vision of what India ought to be. If we do that, I think the answers would be all automatically obtained. We will not have to make it alone. Thank you very much once again.
Honorable judges of the Madras High Court, past and present, former judges of the Supreme Court, members of the legal fraternity, members of the Bar Association Madras. It gives me indeed a very great pleasure to be amidst you today when you are celebrating 130th year anniversary of the Bar Association of Madras. It is not merely the existence of an association for 130 years, which can give you any satisfaction. But what gives you satisfaction today is the service rendered by the Madras Bar Association in service of law and justice for a long span of 130 years. An achievement of which every member has a reason to be proud of. Madras Bar has great traditions, and it has carried on those traditions relentlessly throughout. You have today legally encroached upon and secured for yourself Court Hall number 6, Bar Association Library, a number of sections containing books have been opened. I've had the pleasure of opening the AR National section, the Bar Association, which has been made possible by the donation given by a dutiful son to discharge the pious moral debt of his father. For after all, Brother Lakshman has been a secretary of the Madras Bar Association, and he owes to Madras Bar Association a lot, and a part of that has been repaid. Friends, the library requires books. You have some books. Some have been donated, some are going to be donated. I suppose you need to see that the library grows by having more books. May I venture a suggestion that all senior advocates, designated and not so designated, should, on their birthday, donate one book to the library and see how fast it will grow. Those of you who are more magnanimous need not only restrict themselves to one. One is the lower limit, upper limit is your choice. Friends, it is indeed a matter of very proud privilege that we have Lord Chief Justice of India with us. After his thought-provoking and a very clear address, I thought nothing more was required to be said by anyone. But then when you are called upon to, I don't suppose you can refuse to answer that call of that duty. The Lord Chief Justice of India has talked to you both in the morning and now about the need to preserve the human rights, to prevent and remedy the violations of human rights. The breach of human rights, whenever and wherever it occurs, and when human dignity is wounded near fatally, it makes the flag of civilization fly half-mast. It therefore must be remembered and understood that the violation of human rights is not a problem peculiar to our country. The challenge of the violation of human rights is global. The issue is basic and the concern universal. We have therefore, as suggested by the Lord Chief Justice of India, to walk hand in hand to preserve human dignity, and when courts, by their orders, pronouncements, directives, enforce human rights, or take action against the violators of human rights, they do so to create a sense in the citizenry of this country that you live under the rule of law and the courts are there to see that your rights are protected and preserved. The members of the bar have a very significant role to play in that field. And Madras Bar has never shirked its duty whenever called upon. And I'm sure it will not in future either. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not wish to inflict any more speech. May I say pleasure.
Thank you, sir, for your scintillating speech and a fantastic idea for organizing our library. May I now request the declaring open of Shankara section by Honorable Justice K. Venkateswamy will also address.
Computed and you have added your library very many sections in the name of important persons. I am given by the association to declare open the name of, declare open a section of the library in the name of Sangaramulya. I am happy to do that function. Late Sri Sangaramulya was the doyen of Salem Bar and was held in high esteem by members of the judiciary and the bar. No field of human activity was left untouched by Sri Sangaramulya. Himself a tennis player, till the last days of his life, he was interested in sports. A great Freemason, lover of animals, educationist, and forerunner in cooperative movement till the end, and held positions as district commissioner of Scouts for more than 2 decades, and was also state vice president of the Scout movement. In recognition of his services in that field, a Scout training center at Station Chavadi near Salem is named after him. He was honorary secretary of SPCA and a trustee of Sengundar Education Trust, which runs Salem Polytechnics, and his charitable mind, hospitable disposition, and service to the cause of education and welfare of orphans endeared him to everyone and earned him the name and title of Salem Semman, a cherished citizen of Salem. As a member of the bar, he was known to be a disciplined soldier of the legal fraternity who had trained hundreds of juniors who have occupied great positions and attained glorious levels in the profession. Justice Natarajan, S. Natarajan, a former judge of the Supreme Court, had been present with us. Justice T.N. Singaravan and Justice K.M. Natarajan, former judges of this court, are from this workshop. Leave alone several others who held and are still holding various positions in the subordinate judiciary. He played a leading role in the State Bar Council of this state, having held positions as the chairman, and was the root cause for the introduction of several measures for the welfare of the members of bar in this state. His life is a message to everyone in the field of legal fraternity and those who are in the public life. He was thorough in his preparedness and trained his juniors methodically and helped and guided youngsters in the profession to get themselves trained to make them self-reliant and work with self-confidence. Junior members of the bar must take a lesson from this life of high value, rich tradition and hard work. Senior members in the profession must emulate him to help and assist junior members of the bar and guide them to shape their professional careers on sound and acceptable and reputed norms, standards expected of legal profession. In the context of your thought,
Dayandar Vedanta, Mr. Goribandan, Mr. Parasar, retired judges, learned members of the bar, ladies and gentlemen. What came about as a disappointment to the members of the Bar Association by the inability of the Honorable Law Minister to come and participate in this function has come as a God-given opportunity to me to actively participate in this function and to express before this other gathering my great admiration and regard for one of the most eminent lawyers of the country, Mr. K. Parasar. I have always wanted to speak about the pages of this wonderful son of India because I have seen him as a lawyer, and then as a judge of the High Court, and soon later when he gave of God as a judge of the Supreme Court. His brilliance has always been reflected in his arguments and his presentation of speech. True to the old adage that he was a winner of many prizes and medals, chief among them being the C.S. Sanskrit medal for proficiency in Sanskrit, Justice Bhajangar's medal for proficiency in Hindu law, and the Krishna medal for our language. Mr. Parasar enrolled as an advocate in 19. He had his schooling in the Hindu high school, his college education at Presidency College, and his law degree course in the Madras Law College. He became an apprentice under his own father, Sri Keshwaiah, a Dian of the bar, whose brilliance and profession in law is remarkable. Mr. Keshwaiah was not only a great legal luminary, but a great scholar in Sanskrit and science. No better than that his illustrious son has admired all these scholars. After working as a junior under his own father, Keshwaiah for 6 years, Mr. Parasar felt emboldened to set up his own practice and soon came to the top rung of the profession. As I was not a lawyer of the Madras bar, I was an official lawyer. I could not have the association of Mr. Parasar right from the time he entered the bar. But from 1965, I had come to know him very closely and immediately. He used to come to Salem now and then to argue on cases. And Mr. Shankar over there, Shivakumar was made, whose worthy son, the Honorable Justice Jagadish, is now occupying the bench of the Madras High Court, introduced me to Mr. Parasar. And from then, we developed a long-standing friendship. Mr. Parasar enrolled himself in the Supreme Court in 1968. He was appointed Central Standing Counsel in Madras High Court 1971. Appointed Advocate General of State in 1976, was supposed to resign in 1977 in change of government. He was appointed Solicitor General of India in February 1980, and he was appointed Attorney General on 9/8/93, reappointed on 9/8/96, and once again reappointed on 9/8/99. A rare and signal lawyer, honor for very lawyer, we can think of. He was the president of the Indian Society of Criminology during the years 1984-84, High Court, or even at 64, or about 8. That is a great respect he had for the Chief of Justice. Therefore, his life, his performance, his ability is worthy of emulation by all members of the bar. It is in the witness of things that Mr. Bharatman and his illustrious son has contributed a sizable amount to open the telecom sector. I am sure it is going to be of immense use to the members of the bar here. Mr. Bharatman, as I said earlier, comes from a brilliant family of lawyers. I would be failing to mention if I not mention on the occasion about the great support he has received all through his life from his gracious lady, from Saroja Bharat. But for that, and the quiet manner in which he has been running the household, about the greatness of his person, the personal demand I have, and to invoke the blessings of God that he and his family members should live and prosper for full product. I thank Mr. Ravindran for having given me this opportunity. I only hope the disappointment caused by Mr. Bharat not coming does not become a double disappointment on my inadequate performance for the Dharma presidency. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your amazing performance. It is not a disappointment. Thomas Gratishar is Director South India for USIS.
I'm honored that the United States Information Service for South India is able to participate in the 130th anniversary celebration of the Madras Bar Association. I am particularly grateful to the President of your association, Mr. Ravindran, for inviting us. I should point out that the books and journals are not a donation. They are part of a continuing program of exchanges and cooperation between our two nations that has been going on for some time now. The Madras Bar Association and USIS have sponsored a series of seminars, conferences, and talks over the last several years to help American jurists, lawyers, and academics understand the Indian legal system, and conversely to explain the special considerations and exigencies of the American system to India. I can't speak for the Indian side, but because I have the distinct privilege of being the responsible officer for several of these programs while I was stationed in Washington for the last 3 years, I can tell you that without exception, the American participants always return to the United States with new insights into their profession, which they gained here, and great admiration for their Indian colleagues. The list of these visitors reads like a who's who of American jurisprudence. Justices Ginsburg and Scalia were here in February of 1994. I think it was the same year that Justice O'Connor visited Bangalore. Federal judges Billings, Wallace, Mikva, Arnold, and Merritt all visited within the last 2 years, and all spoke with high praise of the programs our two organizations were able to set up for them during their stay in India. The list of Indian jurists who have visited my country under the auspices of this exchange program is equally impressive. In May of last year, a delegation of the Indian Supreme Court justices, led by Chief Justice Amity, visited the United States and interacted with their counterparts on the American Supreme Court. I think that some of you in this room were also part of that delegation. I can say again, through personal experience, that delegation left their American counterparts with a better understanding of the Indian legal system, procedures, and exigencies. But the value of these programs is diminished if the contacts they fostered are not maintained. We are committed to that maintenance. For example, the United States Information Service in South India arranged for Mr. Ravindran to meet with Justices Ginsburg, Scalia, and others on a recent visit to the United States. Others have participated in our programs which took them across my country to see how regional and municipal courts function. These visits will continue, and we intend to invite other American judges, lawyers, and academics to India to maintain the dialogue that has been so successfully begun. The collections of books and journals which I present today is emblematic of this cooperation. It is a living collection. It will grow over time as we add to it. New thoughts and new insights are always being generated in the halls of justice. As these are made available, we will make sure they are added to the collection. The spirit with which these books are given will not diminish over the coming months, years, or decades. I would like to close by paraphrasing a thought from Justice Wallace's speech, which he made here during the conference you organized for his visit, and as it appeared in the book published by the Bar Association. Each country has a soul based on its experience and culture, and its constitution tells us about that soul. Our constitutions tells us about the way we have constituted ourselves into our nations. Both India and the United States enjoy the indispensable asset of a democracy, a free and independent judiciary. I would like to thank you again for permitting the United States Information Service in South India to be part of today's proceedings, and give you our pledge that the spirit with which the books and journals are presented will continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Please.
May I request Mr. Matsami, our past president, to receive the Medal of Honor. May I request Justice Kumar Rajaratnam, our past president, to receive the Medal of Honor. May I request Justice B.R. Lakshmanan, our past secretary, to receive the Medal of Honor. May I request Mr. Justice S. Jagadish, past secretary, to receive the Medal of Honor. Mr. T. R. Rajagopal, Mr. Mohan Parasa, and Mr. Hare of Simpson, three sons of their illustrious fathers, have contributed liberally to institute the two library sections and the telecom center. May I request them to go to the right to receive the Medal of Honor. Mr. Muthu Kumar Swami, Mr. Sundaresan, Mr. Zoiraj, our advocate member, who is not only housing. May I request our registrar? May I, Lord, at this stage, thank Dr. Rao. Mrs. Bharati Singh, who is our architect and engineer decorator, and Mr. Uday Surya, assistant engineer, electrical, who is our manager, who is known as all-in-one, Armugan. You know, the Chief Justice will be taking leave from us now. And may I request, you know, the Chief Justice of Madras to give us his address.
Honorable Sri Justice K. Venkata Swamy, Honorable Sri K. Krishna Swamy, Municipal Law, Honorable Justice Natarajan, Honorable Justice Ramaswamy, my learned brother, Honorable Justice Srinivasan, and my esteemed brother judges, learned advocate general, learned members of the legal fraternity, Mr. Ravindran, President Madras Bar Association, Mr. M. Venkata Chalapati, Secretary, learned senior counsels, learned members of the judiciary, representatives of the media, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. Friends, before I read my prepared speech, a pleasant task has been entrusted to me by my Lord the Honorable Chief Justice of India. As Lord Chief Justice of India is the patron of the National Legal Aid Services, to announce a sum of rupees 10,000 donation from the National Legal Aid to the Madras Bar Association on the occasion of 130-year celebrations. I deem it a great privilege to participate in the function arranged to celebrate 130th anniversary of Madras Bar Association. I am very much thankful to the President and office bearers of the Madras Bar Association for inviting me to declare open U.S. law section in the august presence of my Lord the Honorable Chief Justice of India and the Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court. With great pleasure, I have already declared open the USA law section of the latter. The legal fraternity and the members of the bench can justly be proud of the manner in which Madras Bar Association is celebrating 130th anniversary by opening new library wing with various sections and also a telecom center named as Parasaram Telecom Center. New library wing contains several valuable books on various subjects of interest to the members of the legal fraternity. The fact that celebrations are inaugurated by my Lord Chief Justice, Justice A. F. Ahmadi, Chief Justice of India, in the immediate presence of Honorable Justice A. S. Verma, Honorable Dr. Justice A. S. Anand, and Honorable Justice C. Venkata Swamy, and the State Law Minister, speaks for its splendor and glory. The Madras Bar Association has a rich heritage. From time to time it has given the country not only some of the all-time greats among advocates, but also judges, juries, authors, statesmen, administrators, and academics of repute. Some of the members of the association were also associated with the administration and governance of the country during the pre-independence and post-independence period, and were also associated with the constitution making. The great merit of this association is that it has always contained good number of senior counsels known for their legal acumen, scrupulously maintaining high traditions of the bar, faultless preparation and presentation of the cases with forensic skill, and great respect and reverence to the bench and respectful acceptance of the decisions of the court for or against. These are that the contributions will be continued and in course of time the library will be an outstanding library of the ES section. I may recall here that America and India have experienced nearly identical processes of political and social development, though with a certain difference in point of time. Judgments rendered by the Supreme Court of the United States in the immediate post-independence years have not only the vintage charm but a timeless quality about them. Even now, the rulings of the American court are read with interest and are cited at the bar in different countries. I am confident that the US wing in the Madras Bar Association Library will prove to be the rich source of inspiration to the bar members here to carry the art of advocacy to new heights. The cooperation between the bar and the bench in Madras has always been warm and cordial, and symbolizing the same, we have extended the opportunity to my learned brother Justice Srinivasan and myself to inaugurate the different wings of the library. A mere well-stocked library without facilities for quiet and undisturbed reading and without proper ventilation and lighting would be of little value and would fail to arouse the reader's interest. I am happy to find that this matter has been taken care of and a pleasant and attractive library which arouses reader's interest and promotes proper use of the library has been established. I do hope that the younger generation of the bar will utilize the library services here as frequently as possible and achieve success in the profession. This library, with the newly added books and facilities, is bound to be of immense help to those who have a penchant for research and comparative study of the growth of law in different countries. Lastly, I wish great future to the Madras Bar Association and to its members. Thank you all. Accidentally, they have come to the announce that it was a grant by the Chief Justice of the High Court. I do declare that from the State Legal Service Authority, a similar sum of 10,000.
I may be permitted to make more mistakes.
Honorable Chief Justice of India, Justice J.S. Verma, Dr. Justice Anand, Justice Venkataswamy, Honorable Justice Nadarajan, former Judges Supreme Court of India, and the President of the Madras Bar Association, my best friend, Thiru Ravindran, and members of the bar, and learned senior advocates and revered judges. Sir, it gives me immense pleasure to be in your midst here today and to declare over our Krishnamurti in the library hall of the Madras Bar Association. As every member of the legal profession well knows, Thiru R. Krishnamurti, the President Advocate General, is an amiable gentleman to the court. Sir, he is a soft-spoken, gentle towards all, including his innumerable clients, and has won the hearts of one and all. He is a man of erudition and learning, and presents his case in a gentle yet forthright manner. Whether he is representing the state or a private individual, one can never fail to notice the smile in his face. Sir, whether the case argues yes in his favor or not, he will not feel dejected, but will maintain the usual smile. The junior advocates working under his
under him always feel themselves at home. He is a man of principles. He is known for his honesty, uprightness and humility. He never boasts that he is holding the post of Advocate General, since he is known for all his humility. Finally, sir, he is a genuine man and a pure woman in the legal profession. He is liked by one and all, both at the bar and the bench. With the elation, I congratulate one and all connected with this project. Thank you, sir.
I know. Dr. Justice Anand, Mr. Justice Venkateswamy, Mr. Justice Natarajan, Ravindran, Mr. Ravindran, Mr. Venkateswamy, learned brothers, Ravi and other members of the bar, dear younger members of the bar, and all the dignitaries assembled here. I am very much conscious that I have come practically at the end of a strenuous day to speak before you. I wonder whether you will have the patience to listen to me. I would have preferred just to give my address, because that was what I was requested to say. He wanted me to give my address. I would have preferred to tell you my address is 10 Ramaswamy Street, but I do not want to be a cause for disrespect to Mr. T.R. Ramachandra, for whom I had great admiration when I joined the bar. A good library is a sine qua non for any association of lawyers. When I was a member of the Bar Association, till I became a judge, the library was not as big as that of the Advocates Association. But still, I became a member of the Bar Association for the purpose of taking books therefrom, mainly, for two reasons. One is, the association is situated very near the courthouse, so conveniently books can be taken. The other is, very often, books will not be available in the Advocates Association because of the large number of members there. But now, the library of the Bar Association has grown up in size. It is indeed very pleasant to note that several sections have been opened in the munificence of the members of the association. The de facto opening of Mr. T.R. Ramachandran's section was done already. Now the de jure declaration of the opening is being done here. It is more easy to build up a library, but it will be very difficult to preserve it. I have seen the Advocates Association and my personal library losing several books because the persons who took them had always thought that the library was there, that they can take only as much care as they would take of their own books. So the books will be used to be left in the courthouse, even in the city civil court and small class courts, and in the various courthouses here. Every Friday, the assistants of Advocates Relations used to go to every courthouse, collect books. There will be hundreds of books. Every Friday they used to carry them back to the Advocates Relations. But I made it a principle to return the books myself if I took them from the association. Of course, a library must also have a good and vigilant librarian besides able assistants. My uncle used to tell me there was an assistant in the Advocates Association. If a lawyer asked him to bring IRR certificate Madras, and takes a seat there. A few minutes later, there will be 2 books on the table. You would ask the assistant, why I asked only for Ayala Saksha Madras, you brought 2 books. So the assistant will reply, sir, Ayala Saksha Madras has been taken away by somebody. I have brought Ayala Saksha Madras and Ayala Saksha Madras. So if a library has an assistant like that, it will be very difficult to manage. So in such situations, the best method will be that followed by Honorable Sir S. Varnacharya. I have been told that very meticulous in his preparation, he was thorough, and his presentation was always agreeable to the judges. He never hurt any of the judges. His voice was so pleasant that his preparations were readily, his submissions were readily accepted and considered. One important thing which many, probably Mr. Rajagopal knows it, I do not know whether he knows it, but I know it personally. He used to take care that when he presented any proceeding in this court, a revision petition or a second appeal or a first appeal, that there is no mistake in it and there will be no return by the office. No paper of his was returned by the office if he had presented it. With such meticulous care, he prepared the papers. And he used to tell me about that. He used to tell me, you must prepare the papers and give it so that no paper should be returned to you. But unfortunately, that standard is not maintained by, I can say boldly, any of the officers at present. Because the seniors do not take care to instruct the juniors how to prepare it. I blame it to the seniors. And we find when the papers come to us on the table, when we dispose of the cases, so many mistakes in the typeset, in the evidence, anything. No day passes without by making a remark on the mistake contained in the memorandum of accounts or the evidence. You I am very sorry to say that, but it was daylight. But time has come that you must do it perfectly. Perfection is the only thing which a lawyer can think of. While I speak about Ramachandra Mishra for listening to me so patiently and intently. All of you are Mahanubhavus.
For his contribution to establish a section in the name of his illustrious father, Justice Yadav. I request the Honorable Mr. Justice K. Venkateswaran to present a gift to our office manager, Mr. R. Mohan, who worked for the success of this function for the last 2 months without any sleep. My role as the president of this association for the organizing this function was only advisory and supervisory. One gentleman who toiled for the success of this function for the last 2 months was our secretary, Mr. MBA Celebrations. I request Dr. Justice Anand to present the button.
Honorable Judges of the High Court, members and associations, invitees, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Bar Association, I thank our Chief Justice of India, Honorable Mr. Justice A. Mahamari, for the kind-hearted acceptance of our invitation to open the library course. We are proud of this occasion because the first visit of Chief Justice of India to Madras as well as to our Chartered High Court is at our invitation. I thank Honorable Justice A. Subramanian for his participation in the case of this occasion. I thank Honorable Justice Dr. A. Anand, who has consented to declare open the Justice A. Arjun sections in the library. Sir, I assure you, sir, my president has instructed me to correct the full dues, sir, not only from the secretary, but also from the other secretaries that is existence. The entire news will recover, sir.
No, they will announce something. They will announce.
I thank Honorable Justice K. Venkateswamy for declaring open Santa Maria Section. I thank Honorable Justice S. Natarajan for his inauguration of Rasa Telecommunication Center, which is going to take over Gurgaon to the computer age at once. I thank our Honorable Chief Justice, Justice K. Swamy, for declaring open the US Law Section. I thank Mr. Thomas D. Ganesha, Director of South India USAS, for his liberal donation of books, which are immense value to our members. And I have also taken note that the continuation of this donation, and thank him for that also. I thank our Honorable Law Minister, Mr. K. Krishnaswamy, for declaring open the section of my reverend senior and learned advocate, Mr. R. Krishnamurthy. I thank Honorable Mr. Justice M. Srinivasan for declaring open the CR offices section in the library. Sir, we assure you, sir, to put the select answer before the portrait is set to the gallery, sir. I thank the donors of each and every section over today individually. I thank our Chief Justice, the Honorable Justice K. Swamy, for providing us the additional accommodation for number 6. And I thank Honorable Mr. Justice J. Kanagaraj, Honorable Mr. Justice R. Mugam, Honorable Justice Jagdishan, for all members of the building committee for recommending the additional accommodation. I thank all the advocates who contributed really made the show better. I thank all our judges, the Vice Chairman of the Circuit Administrative Tribunal, President of the Consumer Forum, and our former President and President Judge of the Karnataka High Court for their gracious presence. I thank our Justice V. Ramaswamy for his presence. I thank all the donors to our residency individually. I thank the Advocate General, the Public Prosecutor and Ground Bidder, and all the law officers, senior advocates, and the President of the Madras and State Court Advocates Association for their presence. I thank our Registrar, Mr. Ramamurthy, for his kind help and assistance. I thank all the family members who are present. I thank the entire staff of the High Court who have helped us to perform this grand function in a befitting manner. I thank Mr. R. Mugam, Manager, MBA, and other members of the staff for their hard work for the success of this function. I thank the press, media persons, Doordarshan authorities, and others for covering the function in a nice manner. I thank the engineers of PWD Electrical Department for the necessary help and service rendered by them to bring life and life to this function. Before parting, for the first time, I am thanking our President for his drive, perseverance, and calculated move to achieve the object, which is the telecom center, so that the members will come with the up to date with any other across the country. We really thank you, sir. I thank one and all. Thank you.
All the members of the bar and all the invited to join us for tea, which has been arranged at the ground floor beneath Dr. Rajendra Hall. Thank you.
lectured before me, which photo and which case you have.
About 14 years ago, sir.
And income tax matter.
Yes, sir. All the best.
Constitutional validity of a provision.
Yes. It is not likely to come to that.
Thank you.